Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Dragon Ball Nation. Now today, I'm going to be doing a discussion on why didn't Cell try to absorb any of the Z fighters. Now that's something I've thought about for a couple weeks now, and I finally decided to, put a video together, and I've, been thinking a lot about it. So I'm going to show you guys my thoughts and, why I think he didn't absorb any of the Z fighters. So, let's get right into this video. Now one of the things we need to really look at is Cell's power at his initial, imperfect form after he comes out of his quote-unquote larval state. Now, Cell at that point is unclear at what power he was at, but we can assume that this is based off of just an assumption that he was weaker than the majority of the Z fighters. This is why he went around and absorbed all of the humans, and we've seen this in the show. He, stuck his tail in the humans and absorbed them. But later on in the series, we know he gains much more power after terrorizing all of those cities. And he comes across Piccolo. And this is after Piccolo had fused with Kami, and Piccolo at that point was the strongest Z fighter of all, even surpassing Goku and Vegeta. So at this point, it makes me wonder why Cell did not try to gain even more strength. From a Z fighter at that point, because during that fight between him and Piccolo was much ahead of him in my opinion. I mean, he even had his, weighted clothes on. So Piccolo at that point was much farther ahead of Cell, in my opinion. So this makes me think that Cell should have had, of course he didn't know that Piccolo had fused with Kami at that point, but we do see that Cell had escaped with the solar flare. So it would make me think that after that point he would want to try to absorb Z fighters to kind of, combat Piccolo. And one could argue that maybe they were too strong to absorb, but the only thing I could say to counter that is we do see Cell absorb Piccolo's arm, and then, Piccolo then proceeds to rip his arm off and then regrow it. So that makes me think that if he can, even though it's only an arm, he has the potential to absorb any of the other Z fighters at that point. At least their energy, not necessarily absorb them the way he did 17 and 18. Now, another thing to add is that Cell at that point when he fought Piccolo was still, in my opinion, much stronger than the majority of the Z fighters aside from Piccolo, maybe rivaling or even surpassing Vegeta. I mean, he only got away from Piccolo because Piccolo hesitated to destroy him at that point, and he had used the solar flare to escape. So it's not really about that he was weaker than the Z fighters and didn't think that he could compare with them, because I would think he was, around the same level, if not greater than Vegeta and Goku as well. But Goku was, of course, hit with the heart virus at that time. But even people like Tien and Krillin, he had the chances to, absorb if he could sense their energy. So it puzzles me why he would not, attempt to do that, and he just continued to absorb more and more humans until he got up to the level of, his confident level of surpassing Piccolo later in the series. Now, this is where it gets interesting, is that he has ample opportunity to absorb the energy from Piccolo as well as absorb 17 and 18. Now here's the thing, if he had absorbed Piccolo, he would have been, it would have been a piece of cake in theory to take out 16, as he was struggling very, very much. They were about even in that fight. Now, this is where this gets a little bit fuzzy, because as an in-universe perspective, as far as writing goes, I just don't think they wrote this into the series, him absorbing Z fighters. As an in-universe perspective, and a way to maybe answer this for you guys, is that at that point, after absorbing all those humans, even though I think that before absorbing those humans to get to the level of Piccolo, or surpassing Piccolo, I think that Cell should have gone after some of the Z fighters in some way, in my opinion. But at the point where he had already surpassed Piccolo, I assume that he found it unnecessary, not knowing the strength of 16, he found it unnecessary to absorb Piccolo, and he just wanted to go straight for 17 because he knew it would be a cakewalk to get him. And after that, it was an absolute cakewalk to get 18, not knowing that he had to fight Vegeta in that, Super Vegeta form. And, once he reached his perfect form, he was so far above everyone that there was literally no need for him to think about absorbing anyone at that point. So that really has been it for today, guys. One thing I do want to just touch up upon is that the main reason I think that Cell's confidence, made it so he didn't need to absorb any of the Z fighters necessarily. Mainly, I would attribute it to his own, expressions and pride, because Cell is very prideful because of his DNA from Frieza as well as Vegeta. But also, even though it was made, obviously clearly before Battle of Gods, in Battle of Gods we see that Goku doesn't like getting energy that isn't his. So that can be something that, could be added on, but considering it was made so far before Battle of Gods, it's not something we really need to do. But Goku has been shown in the series to love getting his own power from his own needs rather than help from others. So, like I said, guys, take it for what you will. My thoughts on it. Maybe this is not something you guys have thought of before. Maybe it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But like I said, guys, that really has been it. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and I'll catch you later.